So I'm really excited to be here, and really excited because we are doing our launch announcement this week of cloud monitoring for Catalyst Wireless. Some of you may be familiar with the cloud monitoring for Catalyst switching support. We introduced about 18 months ago now, give or take. It's been quite some time. And starting in April, you will now have access to our early public beta release to onboard your Catalyst Wireless controllers. And with this release is our first round of integration to do native integration with iOS XE. So that's really kind of what I wanted to get into today. I'll cover a little bit about kind of what some of our themes are with cloud monitoring. You've probably heard the term all week simplify, right? Simplify your operations. That's one of our main goals for you to be able to do in use cases to get out of dashboard with monitoring your Catalyst Wireless. And then I'll go into a little deeper dive into how we've done some of those native integrations to dashboard. All right, well, we know operating networks can be time-consuming and cumbersome. So we want to be able to simplify many of the functions of network operations into a single platform with dashboard. So here you see just some of the pillars of network operations and some of these use cases, how dashboard is going to help you simplify those Catalyst operations. So when we launch, we're going to have event monitoring, monitor everything from your AP to your clients to your controller. We'll be using webhooks and automation. So with any dashboard product platform, we have an API first strategy. So if you can see it in dashboard, you can use the API for it. And that'll also apply to Catalyst devices that are being monitored in dashboard. Performance monitoring is key. You know, wireless connection complaints happen all the time. For those of you that are doing wireless troubleshooting and operations, you know, you get that day after call, you know, my important person couldn't connect last night at 4 o'clock, tell me why. So we want to be able to have some of that historical client event connection, health data, all for you available in dashboard to go back and do some of that remote yesterday type troubleshooting. Two big features I do want to mention. They're coming very soon to switching, and we will also have them wireless. So dashboard's going to introduce a feature we're going to call configuration history. So for your Catalyst devices, we'll be able to take backups of your running configuration and store those in dashboard. You'll also be able to see diffs of those configurations and restore configurations quickly and easy with a copy button to restore configurations. But the diff feature, one thing, yeah, we're really excited about. So you'll be able to diff previous changes. And then to reduce your load on operating to do software upgrades, right? We'll be able to do Catalyst image upgrades as well, right to controllers and switches. This is one slide again. Just want to touch on this simplify theme real quick. We've all had to do packet captures. You know, so I'm sure many of us are used to the days where we had to run over to the data center, run over to the closet, do a span port to get our packet captures that way. Well, iOS XE, yeah, it's got some great built-in packet capture features now, but it takes a handful of commands. So what we've wanted to do with dashboard is to implement packet capture features, but do it with a few simple clicks. So here's a great example, right? It might take a handful of configurations to get a packet capture started on iOS XE. And then, of course, after you do all that, you got to copy the file off of your box, and you got to copy it to a TFTP server, get it over to your laptop so you can start analyzing it. So how can we do that? You know, with three easy clicks. In dashboard, decide where you want to source the packet capture from with a click, and then start the capture. It'll download the file to you right in your browser. So we've got good troubleshooting tools here that are really good for your tier 1 help desk support who may not be familiar at all with iOS XE, but dashboard is really intuitive and they can do some of these things with a few simple clicks.
Quick question on that. Do you have any limitations on the file size for the packet captures?
Not right now, I don't believe. We haven't implemented everything for wireless controller packet capture sizing yet, so we'll get back to you on that. That'll be a day 2 feature for wireless, but good question. We'll have to follow up on what the capture limit size is.
And since we're targeting, or at least the first use case you're showing is tier 1 help desk, is this API driven so I can build it into my help desk dashboard that says packet capture, etc.?
Yeah, packet captures I think can also be initiated from dashboard as well. So Anything that's currently a dashboard feature, we are trying to bring that to the Catalyst world as well. So
the question is about API. So I may not want to expose dashboard to my tier one help desk person, but I want them to be able to capture package. So I may build a
oh, you built
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I honestly do not know off the top of my head if we have packet capture API out there yet, but I'm going to make sure, because that is something, again, we probably have API first approach, and we definitely will look into that if we don't have it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is there any plan to bring the intelligent packet capture?
Yes, we are looking down the future roadmap for more integrations with the controller side to do some of that direct off AP radio capturing capabilities as well. Yep. Won't be available when we launch, but something we're thinking about in future releases. Yep.
Perfect.
I'll just touch on this real quickly. Everybody always asks about licensing. So cloud monitoring included with your DNA license, whether it's E Essentials or Advantage. Only difference is Advantage gets you client traffic analytics, so we get the in-bar data from the controller, grab that data and display it in dashboard. That requires the Advantage. All right, so let me dive into a little bit about what native integration means. We've spent a lot of time over the last year with both the platform side and dashboard and the iOS XE teams to get this first phase of integration going, which we'll be launching with when we launch wireless in April. So what does that mean? Well, native Meraki tunnel running right in iOS XE. Same tunnel that's used to connect MR, MS switches will now also be used to connect Catalyst devices and Catalyst wireless controllers directly to dashboard. So this will give us things like native onboarding. You'll be able to onboard your switches and controllers for Catalyst almost identical as you do to a Meraki device. And this also gives us great capabilities to do direct telemetry collection from the devices as well. So let's go a little deeper dive into how we've done some of these first integrations.
Would it break existing DNAC integrations?
Right now, coexistence between the two is not supported from your controller side. Something we are looking to do, but not implemented yet, not tested out yet. Something we're thinking about. We know it's come up to some customers may have dual use cases to do some things with Catalyst Center and monitor dashboard as well. So something we are looking into, but won't be supported at launch. Dashboard node connect, just a quick review. Dashboard node connect. I mentioned the Meraki tunnel. We've updated the Meraki tunnel most recently. It kind of goes to this newer tunnel system architecture. That's kind of one of the first phases we did to do more of a microservices architecture and get that tunnel architecture a little bit separate. Allows us to scale it really, really well. The nice thing about this too is it's now runs over port 443. So back in the old days, you remember we had to use port 7351 for Meraki devices to get out to cloud. Now that's all being done on port 443. So firewall rule that people are known to commonly have opened. What really this is allows us to increase scalability, right? So number of devices connected to dashboard is growing daily, and now with Catalyst wireless and switching going to be using that same architecture, that number of devices we expect now will even continue to grow. So we want to take advantages of some of the same architecture the dashboard already has in place. So to do that, we've done some updates to the iOS XE control plane, where we have two now new Meraki processes that are actually integrated and running right on the platform. So these two new processes are Meraki processes. I usually refer to them as that. We've got the Meraki MGRD and the Meraki tunnel. The Meraki MGRD is what communicates between iOS and the platform. We've got the Next Tunnel client service running on there. Again, that's the same tunnel service system I was talking about that run on MR devices, running as a process now in dashboard or on the controllers. So this is really good integration to get us direct communication from the box. Again, it allows us to onboard very simply, query telemetry and query telemetry data much in the same way we do for MR and other Meraki devices.
Is this the same across wireless as well as wired?
Yeah. So those processes will also be running when we go over this architecture for switching. That will be coming probably around July, August timeframe. on this architecture, but it will launch on wireless. Right now with switching, when you onboard, you have to use our onboarding app, and we actually create a crypto TLS tunnel using a separate tunnel technology. And that's how switching is running now, but then switching later will move over to migrate to also use this same processes. Yeah, but this was just something key I wanted to show because you can really see that native integration. We've got, these Meraki processes running right in iOS XE. A little more on the Meraki tunnel and that tunnel flow. So everything is done with a mutual TLS connection. So it's MTLS. We'll reach out to the tunnel registration server. And one thing that we have to do is ensure that the Callus devices, we have to ensure its identity, right? So it's an MTLS tunnel. Got to ensure both sides' identities. So what we do is dashboard will get the secure unique identifier off the X5039 certificate that's inside the trusted access module. So you may know that's the secure chip, tamper-resistant chip that goes inside most any modern platform, and it stores that identity that's baked in right from manufacturing that has serial number, product IDs, things like that. So we're actually able to get that as part of the registration process to confirm that this truly is Cisco device, confirm its identity, and we get that off that trusted anchor module. Then the Meraki MGRD service will actually go and grab the Meraki tunnel configuration, update the next tunnel client with that configuration it receives. And now, once that next tunnel client comes up, and I'll show you a little bit about how that tunnel comes up, now dashboard will have access through the tunnel to these interfaces. You will see an interface get created. So if you do a show IP interface brief or something on the controller, you'll see this TLS VIF2 interface with an IPv6 address. That's just the overlay address used for inside the tunnel.
Is this just IP version 4 related or dual stack?
So dashboard supports both. This v6 address specifically is for inside the tunnel, but you can have the outer connectivity. It can be either way. Yeah, so once next tunnel up, we have a couple different handful of interfaces that we will talk to. We actually will, I'll go in a little more details, some slides about the telemetry collection, but we actually can use the web server interface to go in, query data directly, and then we'll use SSH netcomp to do some programming where we need to. All right, so let me talk a little bit about what the native onboarding is. So the cool thing is you can enable this in iOS XE, one command. For those of you doing controller deployments and operations, probably more used to using the web UI. You, of course, can use the web UI as well. Single click. So we got a couple new CLIs and a couple show commands. And really, once you do that on the box, you go into dashboard and claim that device just like you would any other. So we'll use that cloud ID, we call it, which is going to look very similar to a Meraki serial number. And then we claim that. Once we add the device to a network, dashboard will do some provisioning, a few configurations it needs to enable monitoring some of the server, and I'll go into a little bit of that. Here's a little bit more on that registration process. So when you first enable the command in iOS, it's going to trigger the MGRD daemon to go out and register with catalyst.meraki.com. All this happens, this is before the tunnel comes up, but this again is that MTLS authenticated HTTPS session. So it's going to go out, reach to that registration server. Registration server is going to verify its identity with that studio I was telling you about, and then it's going to generate that cloud ID, send it back to the controller. And then it's going to start off the tunnel config fetch. So we reach out to the config.meraki.com services, again, all on port 443. It's going to get that configuration for the tunnel, send it down to the next tunnel client, and then we're going to get two interfaces now up, tunnel interfaces up. It does have a primary and secondary tunnel for high availability. And then I thought I'd throw this in here too. We have a little bit, just you'll be able to see in the log, of course, like any iOS XE interface, when the primary and secondary tunnels go up and down. When it comes to wireless, though, we also, so I mentioned the tunnel is running natively in iOS XE. It's only running on the controller. And all general communication we do to get data, any data about the access points, will come from the controller. But on onboarding, when you initial that command, the APs themselves also have to register. So we do also have to verify that every access point on that controller, we have to get it to register, we get its CD as well, and we generate a cloud ID based on that.
And so does that then get its own Meraki serial number?
Yep, that'll get its own cloud ID, which is like very similar to the cloud ID Meraki serial.
So if you're getting onboarded into the Meraki dashboard, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get rid of the controller. You don't need the controller. So you still need the controller, but it looks cute in green.
Yeah, and we'll get all the information from the access points through the controller. So the access points will be up, down based on the controller connection.
Okay, that's quite important. Thank you very much.
So just to go through that onboarding process in terms of what the actual user does on the controller, effectively there's like a GUI menu item that they
I'll have a
go
quick
to.
demo for you.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
But yeah, you only enable it on the controller. The APs, then CapWeb will tell the APs to go out and register. So the APs have to be able to reach dashboard IPs on port 443. Again, though, this is only during registration. So once they've done that registration, they never talk to dashboard again. Everything is right, like I mentioned, directly through to the controller. One thing you will note, if you do have CW access points, so any of the 91.6X series, because they're the dual Portanos, they're already stamped and registered at manufacturing. So they actually will skip this registration process because they already have a Meraki serial number.
Support is on the anchor controllers as well, or?
Yeah, we're going to be able to monitor all different types. What we want to do specifically to support anchor controllers is going to be making sure for your clients you see the path. So if they're anchored to another controller, make sure that represents both controllers that they're on. Clients will always live where the APs. I don't know if you're familiar with the Meraki dashboard networks and how they're laid out. Clients will always be where the AP is.
Mm-hmm.
And if those APs happen to, like N+1, if they happen to fail over to another controller, that relationship to the network to the client stays the same, but we will update the client record to say, oh, I'm now connected, or the client and the AP record, I'm now connected to this controller, or for the client, I'm anchoring to this controller. Just in there, I won't go into too much detail, but I just wanted to make show some samples of the new show commands. So you'll be able to get the Meraki Cloud ID simply for the controller with the show Meraki command. I don't have an example here, but SSO, so if you're doing HA, SSO, fully supported as well. Both devices will get a unique cloud ID as well, but only the active controller has the tunnel go up, and then when there's a failover, the secondary unit, when it comes online, will then generate the tunnel. And you can also get a list of all your APs with the show AP Meraki monitoring summary command. Also for web UI, also all there as well. You can get some tunnel stats as well. See what the tunnel, if the config fetch works successfully or not. See if your interfaces are tunnel interfaces are up, and you get some packet counters too. Let you know if there's any errors or drop packets going through the tunnel. All right, so let me do a quick demo here. So this is a controller. It's already been registered. It's already been registered, already been connected, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to go into dashboard and claim it. So I'm going to go in, so you can see. So cloud services, we have a new tab here under cloud services, Meraki. I've already enabled it with that single button and hit apply. So in this case, what I'm going to do is just go in and grab the cloud ID, and that'll automatically paste it right to the clipboard. I'm going to go into dashboard. This is a new organization I created just for this test. We're going to create a new network to put this controller into. Give it a quick name here. Network type, always should choose combined. It's just easiest when you're adding controllers. Default network configuration, ignore. Claim device, I'm going to paste that serial number. My device is now claimed to my dashboard organization. I'm going to add it to this network. One thing we do have to do, we have to decide how we want to put those APs. So that we want them all in one network. Do we want them in other networks? We can also do it by site tag. We can read what site tag it is. And if you got a large campus controller that's doing multiple buildings, on this sample, I'll just do the same network that this controller is going into. I'll go into a little more detail on this. We do have to collect a first-time username and password for us to be able to do the initial provisioning of the device. I'll go in a little more into this in another slide, but short answer is we only use this for onboarding. After that, it's
Beta version or just live?
This is live in dashboard right now. Yeah, it's still under our beta, and will be available with the public launch, but this is a live dashboard. Yep. Once I've done that, wireless, we'll now have this wireless LAN controllers list. And the controller has been added to the network. It's a really quick process. Even if you have a controller with quite a few APs, the APs on board pretty quickly. So slowly coming up, we can see the tunnel is officially online in green. We've now collected some of our base data, and there we go. We're fully up. So that really, how simple it is to onboard a controller with a few clicks.
I have one question regarding features. So in comparison to a native Meraki device, yeah, are there limitations that you cannot do via that method?
Yeah, so our general goal, especially on the access point monitoring, is to have as much, wherever applicable, a one-to-one experience. So if you could see it, do it on a Meraki AP. We want you to be able to monitor it, that same views visibly. So an AP page will look almost identical to an MR page. A controller page is being new, obviously, to dashboard. We've had to design those. So we've put some things in there for live data, things that we initially are important. How many clients are live connected, access point counts, we monitor those over time. We're also having things like new to dashboard CPU monitoring and memory monitoring, things like that. So things in the Catalyst world that we know are important, especially for Catalyst Wireless, that we need visibility in. We'll be doing that to controllers. But the AP experience particularly, wherever we can do a one-for-one matching with the MR experience, that's our ultimate goal.
So strategically, where's the Meraki dashboard positioned when compared to DNAC? Because I guess this addressing a certain customer base that isn't running DNAC or...
Yeah, so I think generally two big ones, right? So maybe customers haven't done Catalyst Center yet for whatever operational reasons, they can't deploy it. This gives them another option for the visibility and the monitoring. The other thing we're seeing more and more is hybrid networks. So a lot of customers have some bits of Meraki, they have some bits of Catalyst devices, may not have deployed Catalyst Center, but they want to have all their sites, everything in dashboard, to at least have a single pane of glass for their inventory, their monitoring solutions, health, that kind of health and insurance.
Are you competing with DNAC?
No. So if you need to be DNAC, you need to stay on-prem, go DNAC. If DNAC's not right for you, dashboard monitoring is a great option. And that's one thing why I hate to talk about licensing. Nobody likes licensing, but this is no value or no additional cost. So value add for your DNA license, right?
So more and more will be integrated into since the acquisition, since you did, Cisco did the acquisition.
Yeah, so we started with switching. Yeah, now I add to wireless. And Nico and Alex are going to talk a little bit more about the switching evolution in their next session as well. So yeah, lots of exciting things coming.
And at the moment, this is just monitoring. There's no...
Yeah, for the controller, it's switches. For cloud monitoring, it's simply just that. But we want to take it to the next level where it's not just monitoring, right? Same health and insurance features that you're used to and things like that.
So hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to do things like backups or snapshots.
Yeah, like I mentioned, that configuration history, that'll be coming for switching really soon, and then we will be adding wireless to that capability as well. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
With the tunnel, in theory, you can do any configuration manipulation in the future. You can do software upgrades, things like that.
Yeah, software upgrades, software image management is another big one that will be coming shortly after we launch as well. Configuration history, packet capture, and image upgrades are the first things we'll be getting out of the door after the launch. As you saw, I did put that username and credentials in the onboarding. I just wanted to reiterate again, that's only used for onboarding. So we're not going to keep and store those credentials. We're going to use it to put some initial device configurations on that gives us access through to the line console to copy some CLI commands. And then from that point on, we only use 2 Meraki generated passwords.
Is there a reason you didn't do it the other way around and you put in your Meraki password into the WLC?
Oh, like if you had the dashboard account?
Yeah, rather than put your WLC username and password into Meraki. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this was the streamlined solution. Really, what we've done with this first phase of integration is to get to market, right?
Yeah.
Get it fast. So those are More enhancements certainly will be coming. That's a good
Yeah.
other ways to get into dashboards, things we have been looking at to streamline that onboarding process. We feel is pretty simple, but we want to continue to make it smoother and simpler. So
I just think in terms of like user behavior, if they've gone for an on-prem solution, they might not want to put their on
poke their own. That's one thing why I did want to at least stress.
Yeah,
We're not storing that. We're not keeping that.
Okay.
We'll use it to onboard. Even if something fails in that process will stop, and you'll have to re-enter it again to try the next time.
Okay.
So we will put a couple user commands on there, or user usernames on the box. One's Meraki user that's used to view SSH to do CLI netconf. Another one you'll see on the box is Meraki-TDL user that you'll see accessing the web server interface to pull data from telemetry. This is just some of the overview of the commands that we need to put on there. Again, I mentioned some AAA stuff. SSH. We do generate SSH unique set of key pair for the username to access. So everything's secure there. Enable netconf if it's not enabled. Put some ACLs on there that are strictly used to secure the VTY sessions. We need 4 VTY ports configured, and then those ACLs are just used to that. That rotary SSH 2222 means we'll only talk to SSH through those VTY lines on port 2222. So a cool thing you'll see, 2 different ways we're collecting data now from the boxes. So if you guys have added things to Prime, Catalyst Center, you'll see all the different telemetry descriptions that get configured on the controllers. And with this new iOS XE integration, you're going to see a new receiver type here. I've got it highlighted here. It's called pull mode. So what we need to do is, there's 2 different types of telemetry. We've got on-change and we've got periodic. But we want dashboard to be able to pull the data off the box and not have it pushed. So in order to quickly and efficiently get the on-change events, so you have a controller, thousands of clients, there's getting an event update every time it auths, deauths, goes through the connection process. So what we're actually doing now with this telemetry sub is dashboard can go in and pull the data. We're storing that on-chain data in memory. We'll quickly go in, and then that file gets over. So you will see that configuration. That's the only two types of telemetry subscriptions get configured on the box for that on-change data. And then, so my last slide, I think we're doing good on time. So dashboard, yeah, we can officially now pull, really efficiently pull data from iOS XE data stores. A lot of you may be familiar with this concepts, right? We've got the iOS XE data stores, in-memory databases, that many of the different processes on the box will write their configuration, operational data to. So now dashboard, in of itself, through the Nexttunnel client and through the web server interface, it can actually query the records on those tables directly. So for like this is example, you might be used to seeing service, TDL service, RM measurement. So here's an example. Every time you go look at a AP page in dashboard, and we'll fly up the live data of all this current channel utilization, we're actually going down to the box and querying the data directly from the box to display it live in dashboard.
One quick question just before Tom kicks you off. The new kind of AI auto RRM that's available within Meraki, that's available within Catalyst, does that fall away?
No.
In this?
We hope to be doing something along those lines for this with monitoring. You're not the first person to ask this week alone, right? So nothing officially on the roadmap. Timeline, yes, for that, but all things we're looking at to do all those different type of integrations. Like I said, that's going to be a common one. You're not the first one to ask about AI RRM with this. So.